Okay, we're working on lesson 21.3. There's going to be a couple different videos, and you're going to be expected to watch all the videos and make sure you're taking good notes. We're going to be working with perfect square trinomials. Perfect square trinomials. And we've worked with them before, but just as a review, if I have something like x plus 3 squared. This is x plus 3 times x plus 3. And you can FOIL. X times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. 3 times x is 3x. And then 3 times 3 is 9. Combine your like terms, and I end up with x squared plus, if I have a 3x and another 3x, I have 6x's plus 9. So that tells us if I have some type of format that looks like some number squared plus 2 of that a and then this b plus b squared, when I factor this, I'm going to end up with a plus b squared. So if I take the square root of x squared, so what times itself is x squared, so that's x, so that's going to be the first part. The square root of the back end of the 9 is the back part. As long as that middle number is 2 times the a times the b, so 2 times 1 times 3, or 2 times 1x plus 3 ends up with 6x. So you'll start seeing that if you can find this pattern, this is just a shortcut. If you don't understand this, it's not the end of the world, because you can still factor the other ways we've been doing. This is just another shortcut. So if you find that you can find the square root, you can find the square root, and this is 2 times whatever those square roots were, then you can just factor it really quickly this way. This also works if it has a minus sign. So something like x minus 5 squared. That's the same as x minus 5 times x minus 5. And if we FOIL that out, x times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Combine those middle terms, and I get x squared. A negative 5x and another negative 5x is negative 10x plus 25. So now if I have a minus sign here, if I have a squared minus 2ab's plus b squared, that's the same as just doing a minus b squared. So if there's a minus sign there, this will be a minus sign. Okay, we're going to practice this now. I know this is going to be super confusing at first, but the more we do it, it suddenly clicks. Okay, if you need to, pause the video if I'm going too fast. Okay, this is example 1a, and it says to factor 4x cubed minus 24x squared plus 36x. And then keep in mind, we're always looking for greatest common factor first. Okay, first thing we're looking for is there a greatest common factor? So looking at the numbers, 4, 24, 36, think about, is there a number any number that I can pull out of all all 3 of those? So I can pull out the number 4, because 4 can go into 4, 4 goes into 24, and 4 goes into 36. So pull out a 4. And then also, are there any letters that they share? They all have at least one x, so I can pull 1x out. 4x cubed divided by 4x, or if I have 4x cubed and I pull out a 4 and I pull out 1x, I'm still left with x squared. 24 divided by 4 is 6. I had x squared and I pulled out one of those x's, so I'm left with an x. 36 divided by 4 is 9, and then I pulled the x out already. 36x divided by 4x is just 9. Okay, now here, you can do other things. Like you can do all your work where you figure out what multiplies to be 9 and adds to be -6. You can do all this other stuff. Doing this work that we're learning today is just another way to do it. So for perfect square trinomials, I'm looking to see, so this one has a minus sign, so I'm looking to see if I can find the square root and the square root. So can I take the square root of x? Yes. The square root of x, let me see if I can find a different color I like. Let's do this. The square root of x, and this is how I do it, I just kind of put it to the side. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 9 is 3. If I can do 2 times the AB, because that's what this is. It's 2 times whatever that square root is in square root. So 2 times x times 3. 2 times 3 is 6, so 6x. So that means, yes, this does follow this little shortcut. So I can write this now as a minus the b value and square it. So whatever the square root is, whatever the square root is. So this ends up being the x and the 3. There's a minus sign, so it goes in between, and it's squared, and then this 4x is still in the front. And then this is how you leave your answer. Or if you prefer to write it all the way out, you can do 4x times x minus 3 times x minus 3. You can write it out the long way as well, because x minus 3 squared is really x minus 3 times x minus 3. Okay, let's try another one. X squared plus 16x plus 64. And again, if you want to do it your other ways, that's perfectly fine. So what I'm trying to see is, could this be a perfect square trinomial? Where did I put that paper? So, can I take the square root and can I take the square root? So yes, the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 64 is 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. So I want to know, is this 2 times x times 8? So 2 times a times b. 2 times 8 is 16, so yes, this does work. So whatever symbol is there, you're going to bring that symbol down. So the x comes first, the 8 goes second, and then you're just squaring it. And now that's your answer. Or if you would like to write it out, it's fine. X plus 8 times x plus 8. Okay, now here is 2. I would like you to work with your groups on this. So yes, you're going to talk to each other. Okay, if you're looking at the papers, it's the on your owns, number 1 and 2. Okay, question 1. 2y cubed plus 12y squared plus 18y. And first, look for a greatest common factor. There's definitely a greatest common factor there. Okay, go ahead and pause this video now and work on number 1 by yourself. Okay, first you had to pull out the greatest common factor of 2y, and then you're left with y squared plus 6y plus 9. Then if you notice, this is a perfect square trinomial. The square root of y squared is y, square root of 9 is 3. If 2 times y times 3 is 6y, then we can convert this into y plus 3 squared, and don't forget to bring down your 2y. Okay, question number 2, you're going to do this one with your group. A 100z squared minus 20z plus 1. Go ahead and pause the video and factor that. Okay, if you can take the perfect square here, or take the square root here, so the square root of 100 is 10, the square root of z squared is z, the square root of 1 is 1. If this is 2 times 10z times 1, 2 times 10 is 20 times 1, so 20z. So this does work for the perfect square trinomial. So you're going to put 10z first, put the 1 at the end, and then whatever that symbol is, and it is squared. Okay, for example 2, we're doing difference of squares, and we've worked on these before. This is a question like x plus 3 times x minus 3. And when we FOIL that, x times x is x squared, x times negative 3 is negative 3x, 3 times x is positive 3x, and 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And then when I combine these two like terms, they cancel each other out. So I end up with x squared minus 9. So this says if I have a squared minus b squared, that's going to end up being the a plus b times a minus b. And this only works if there's a minus sign in between them. Okay, we're going to practice doing that then. This will be 2a, and again it's going to say factor. X squared minus 49. So you need to think about this if that's a perfect square and a perfect square. So can you take a square root of x squared, and can you take the square root of 49? So the square root of x squared is x, the square root of 49 is 7, and as long as they have a minus sign in the middle. If they do, one's going to be positive, one's going to be minus. So it doesn't matter which one you put first, x plus 7 times x minus 7, or you can put the minus first. Okay, for 2b we're doing 49a squared minus 4b squared. So you're looking to see if these are perfect squares. So can I take the square root of 49? Can I take the square root of 4? So the square root of 49, yes, that's 7. Can you take the square root of a squared? Yes, that's a, because a times a is a squared. The square root of 4 is 2, and then the square root of b squared is b. And as long as they have this minus sign, then you're going to split up the 7a and the 2b. Put a minus sign on one of them and a plus sign on the other one. It doesn't matter which one you put first. And those are your two factors. Okay, with your group, go ahead and do this one. X squared minus 144. Pause the video and go ahead and solve that one. Okay, since they have a minus sign, you can split them apart. It doesn't matter which one you put first, the plus or the minus. And then number 4, 81y to the 4th minus 9y squared. For this one, pull out the greatest common factor first. Okay, pause the video and do that one. Okay, first you pulled out the greatest common factor, which was you can pull out a 9, and you can also pull out 2 of the y's, because they both have at least 2 y's to pull out, so y squared. And if you wanted to do distributive property, 9 times 9 is 81, y squared times y squared is y to the 4th, 9 times negative 1 is the negative 9, and y squared. Okay, now here I can see if I can still factor this further. If it has a minus sign, and if these are perfect squares. And yes, 9 is a perfect square, so this is going to be 3y, and the square root of 1 is still 1. So I can still factor this. So the 9y squared is still there. And now I'm going to break this apart. This is going to be 3y minus 1 and 3y plus 1. And remember, multiplication is commutative, so it doesn't matter what order you put it in. It does not have to be in this order. Okay, that's it for today's lesson. I will continue it on for tomorrow.